Alright folks, welcome to the Thinkery where thoughts get weird and fun begins. Picture this, you're strolling along, minding your own business, not really watching where you're going, and bam! Next thing you know, you're sprawled out on the pavement like a dropped crumpet. Scraped knee, dodgy elbow, and your shopping scattered like confetti. Not a brilliant moment, right? So, why is the first thing most people do when they see it? Chuckle. Why do we laugh when someone takes a tumble? This question, which might seem a bit cheeky or even heartless, actually opens up a fascinating look into our brains and society. We're going to explore the psychology behind this reaction, delve into what's happening in our nervous system, and even consider if there's a bit of evolutionary history at play. So, buckle up your brain seatbelt, and let's get cracking. Our first stop is the intriguing, and perhaps slightly uncomfortable, concept of schadenfreude. It's that little twinge of satisfaction, maybe even a bit of joy, when someone else experiences a minor misfortune. While not exactly a noble emotion, it's a surprisingly common human experience. One key reason for this feeling boils down to social comparison. Seeing someone else in a slightly embarrassing situation can, on a subconscious level, make us feel a bit better about ourselves. Phew, glad that wasn't me. It's a subtle way our brains assess our own standing in relation to others. Another aspect is the idea of perceived justice. If we view the person who's tripped as a bit arrogant or perhaps overdue for a minor setback, even if just in our own minds, their stumble might feel like a tiny deserved comeuppance. There's also a social element. In group dynamics, a shared chuckle at someone else's minor mishap, especially if they're not part of our immediate circle, can subtly reinforce bonds within the group. It's an unspoken "we're all in this together" and that clumsy one isn't. Now, let's peek inside our amazing brains when we witness a slip-up. Laughter isn't just a sound, it's a complex neurological event. When we see something unexpected, like someone suddenly losing their balance, our brains spring into action. Areas dealing with surprise and the unexpected become highly active. Our brains have a mental model of how things should be, and a sudden fall deviates from that, creating a jolt in our neural pathways. Interestingly, the brain regions associated with positive emotions and reward also get involved. The release of dopamine, that feel-good neurotransmitter, can increase when we laugh, even if the trigger is someone else's momentary clumsiness. Our clever mirror neurons might also play a role. These neurons allow us to somewhat simulate the experiences of others in our own minds. So, we might briefly feel a hint of the awkwardness of the fall, but if there's no real danger, this can translate into a laugh of recognition or shared humanity. One of the older ideas explaining this laughter is the superiority theory. It suggests that we laugh because we feel, even momentarily, superior to the person who has stumbled. Seeing someone else in an undignified position can give us a fleeting sense of being more competent or sure-footed. Think back to philosopher Thomas Hobbes, who suggested that laughter is a sudden glory arising from a sudden conception of some eminency in ourselves, by comparison with the infirmity of others. While it might sound a tad harsh, there's a kernel of truth in the idea that a bit of perceived clumsiness in someone else can give us a momentary ego boost. Consider the classic image of a very serious person suddenly slipping on something silly. The contrast between their usual demeanor and their unexpected loss of balance can be inherently funny, and our laughter might stem, in part, from this incongruity and our feeling of not being the one in that predicament. However, it's not all about one-upmanship. There's also a more basic, almost primal reaction at play. A fall is a sudden disruption of the expected order. Our initial response might be a brief moment of alarm, quickly followed by a release of tension in the form of laughter when we realize there's no real threat. Think of it like a sudden loud noise that makes you jump, but then you laugh when you realize it was just a car backfiring. The laughter is a way our bodies and brains process the unexpected and signal that the immediate danger has passed. The element of surprise is also key. A sudden, unexpected tumble breaks the routine of normal movement, and this deviation from the norm can be inherently amusing. It's the unexpectedness, the break in the pattern, that can tickle our funny bone. It's worth pondering if our animal cousins share this tendency to chuckle at a tumble. While research into animal laughter is ongoing, and their forms of communication differ greatly from ours, there are observations of playful behavior that involve a degree of physical clumsiness. However, whether they experience the same sense of amusement at a mishap is still largely unknown. Human laughter is deeply intertwined with our complex understanding of social cues, irony, and the absurd. This level of cognitive processing might be what truly sets our fall-down funny reaction apart. Finally, consider the realm of dark comedy. Here, laughter is used to confront serious and often tragic subjects. The humor arises from the unexpected juxtaposition of light-heartedness with grim realities. This type of laughter can be a coping mechanism, a form of social commentary, or simply a way to find a sliver of the absurd in difficult circumstances. So, the next time you witness someone take a minor spill and find yourself letting out a chuckle, remember that this seemingly simple reaction is a complex interplay of psychological factors, neurological responses, and perhaps even a touch of our evolutionary past. It's a reminder of our shared human experience, our capacity for both empathy and, let's be honest, a little bit of amusement at the unexpected stumbles of life. Cheers. Had fun tickling your brain? Then don't ghost us, hit subscribe, and let's keep the weird thoughts rolling. Catch you next time on The Thinkery.